Hi there, welcome to Tarot Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Pisces energy. And like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Pisces energy. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Pisces energy. We've all got free will and we have to make decisions in our life. And the top row could represent how some people are moving forward in their life, and maybe how some people would like to move forward in their life, which of course can be different for everyone, but it's kind of like living your life a little differently than you were living it before. You heal, you grow, you mature, you have more confidence or belief in yourself, you detach from some things that manipulate you, if that's things within yourself or other people or outside influences, to live your more authentic truth in a way that you could feel, oh, that's way too many, that you feel is more just or fair or balanced. The bottom row I refer to as kind of a more shadowy Pisces energy, because we can have these different things within us and outside of us that kind of manipulate us. And at one point in time, we could have been doing something or living our life a certain way, which it seemed more just and fair and balanced. But as time goes by, we don't stay the same. And so then we can be tempted to kind of keep living our life a certain way, more out of our fear of moving forward in life a little differently, because then we'd maybe have to become independent of an old way of living life, or habits, or vices, or friendships, or jobs. And so there's a part of us that wants to keep living our life a certain way, but then in the top row, we have the mature woman, which I kind of view as the Queen of Pentacles, which the pentacle can talk about truth and love and growing and maturing ourselves. We're just not the same person that we were at one other point in time, and out of kind of love for ourselves, we want to move forward in life differently. So some people are still at a phase of life, we all kind of move through different phases of life and grow and heal and mature ourselves and face our fears at different points in time. So sometimes we're someone who's moving forward in life differently. Sometimes we were staying in a comfort zone and we were happy with it. Other people move forward, then we could move forward in life a little differently. Some people in our life are still happy living their life the way they're living it, because we all kind of emotionally grow and mature and heal ourselves and have more hope and faith and belief in ourselves, or learn new lessons in life at different stages. And the feminine figures can talk about how we think and feel. The reason for the bottom row's reading is the Distant Horizons card. So some people who work through something, it is to kind of be willing to keep going on this journey of, again, where do I want to go to next? Seeing the truth about how some things could stop us from moving forward, continuing to be more in alignment with our truth at any given time. When we were 15, 18, 21, and 25, emotionally, we were at a certain stage of life, but we didn't want to stay that way forever. It was part of the journey of continuing to grow and mature ourselves, and we have to listen more. The feminine figures can represent more of listening to our intuition and our more hopeful, believing, loving nature to guide us versus our more worldly, egoic nature. Down here we have a lot of male figures, and the male figures can just represent us in our more egoic nature. And there's a lot of things, we can live more from our ego nature where we don't listen to our intuition. But we can all do that for quite a long time out of fear, insecurity, or codependency, or want for things to work out. But if as over time, the bottom row can represent that things seem imbalanced, that what at one time seemed just and fair doesn't seem just and fair or aligned with our truth anymore, and we kind of listen to our intuition to go on that journey. We can offer truth and love to the people in our life about how we're thinking, how we're feeling, how we want to move forward, what our dreams are, and those people have the free will to decide if they want to move forward in that way or not. So let's go look at the bottom row. We have great fortune, journey, thoughts, marriage, and the mature man. You know, so this is like a counterpart. And for the people who work through some of these things and are working through some of these things, at any given point, you could look at the marriage card as what we kind of aligned with at any point in time in our life. And we kind of go on these journeys in life to learn these lessons. And maybe at one point in time, I view the thoughts card as like the King of Swords. You know, we have the four suits of the deck: the heart, the mind, the 3D world, and the creative passion nature. We kind of have to go off on these journeys. And we could have been learning lessons in more of our air sign energy of Libra and Aquarius and Gemini. And in our dualistic nature, of our Gemini nature, we kind of viewed life a certain way at a certain time. And we might have in Libra and Aquarius and Gemini, we viewed life a certain way. We had a certain dream. We had a way of viewing life that we thought was just and fair. And we kind of went on a journey of something that we could have felt was aligned with our truth, that we could have, and it was aligned with our truth at that time, just like when we lived our life when we were 18 or 21. That was our truth. We found it very abundant. We were motivated and inspired to go on that journey. But high vibe energy is about getting more balance within yourself, and having learned all these different lessons in the four suits of the deck. And then kind of when we went on those journeys, it was kind of like going out to the edge to kind of find out how far was too far. Like some people, like say in the cup suit, like, oh my gosh, I love them. And they kind of go off on this journey to find out how far is too far, in a way of letting love kind of tip your life out of balance, because we move forward most victoriously when we're moving forward in a more balanced way. But we have all these lessons to learn as part of the journey, to learn these lessons. And the great fortune is like the 10 of Pentacles, which is Virgo energy, which is about learning lessons. We put work and effort in going on these different journeys to help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. And we get in these relationships, and we get in these different friendships, jobs, and relationships and friendships with people. And it's all a process of us hopefully maturing and learning these lessons. And then part of that too is the first probably 50 years of our life, you can be a loving person, but we're pretty influenced by the world. Virgo is earth sign energy, and these things of the world that we view, that we want to make our life about or invest in or indulge in, because we're really, for the first probably 50 years of our life, really manipulated by the world in a lot of ways. Because again, you might want to get married, you might want to have children. Well, you're going to be really focused on that. And yes, you can be a loving person, you can be a just and fair person, you can be somebody who puts in work and effort. But we had lessons to learn about listening to our intuition. We could have gotten in jobs, friendships, and relationships with people where maybe our intuition was telling us you should keep your distance from some of those people. But because we were so impacted by the world and these things that we want, that we think are just and fair, and that we want to manifest, we could have listened and aligned with, kind of thinking we knew better than our intuition. And so we're so smart, and pride comes before the fall. But it is all this process to learn these lessons, and we can certainly be drawn and attracted to people who are quite different than us, because we are kind of interested in experiencing life differently and thinking maybe that might be my truth, and we're trying to, again, figure out our truth. And so we can move forward with some people in our life, and we could have people in our life right now that we have love for, that we'd like to be in friendship and relationship with. Part of the reason our connection with those people is because more of these things of the world. They could be our family members. They could be people we did marry. They could be people we wanted to marry. They could be people we've been in friendship or relationship with for a really long time. So we have a lot of these things of the world that draw us together. Can we still want to move forward with some of those people? Yes. And want them in our life? Yes. But as we could get older and at any of these stages of life, as we learn lessons, we're kind of not the same person. We're kind of looking for people to be in friendship and relationship with that are kind of are learning some of those lessons along with us. And so just like when we were young and we were in different friendships and relationships with people at these different ages, some of those people kept moving forward with us because together we were all willing, out of love for each other, and maybe had, everybody can have different dreams and aspirations of how they want to live their life, kind of like, I want to live here. I'm motivated and inspired by this. Oh, you're kind of more motivated and inspired by that. But we can still stay in friendship and relationship with people, because we love them. And of course, they have their life, you have your life. And if they're friends, they're going to get married and have their family or children. If they do that, you're going to do your life. And we can still move forward with each other, right? But in maybe some, say you have a best friend, or, in those cases, we might like to continue to have more of a relationship in the world. The pentacles can be, I guess I'd kind of have to mix this as like a king of cups, king and queen of cups, and king and queen of pentacles, maybe, because they do have a wealthy man and a wealthy woman in the deck. I'm not sure. I don't think, let me take a really quick look here. I don't think they have one that specifically specifies the cups. No, I don't think so. And so, to mature ourselves, it's more than just maturing ourselves in our status or our image and our wealth. It's also emotionally maturing ourselves. But as we emotionally mature ourselves, we probably also have invested to have balance in our life, and the water signs are offset by the earth signs. So they're probably more balanced between their emotional nature and their worldly nature. And they want to make decisions more taking both those aspects into account. I do want these things of the world just like everybody else. That makes logical, practical sense. That would be just and fair. But I do have my dualistic nature, and I also have my emotional nature. And so that's what high vibe energy is realizing. I have these 4 suits of the elements that I deal with: my heart, my mind, my 3D world, and my creative passionate nature. And I've probably went on this journey of learning lessons that if I ignore one or think it's less important, I'm kind of deceiving myself, because that is a truth of kind of being a human being. um, I have an emotional nature. I want love. Well, if I want love, I can't live more from my mind than my heart. I also have to emotionally grow and mature myself. And some people don't want to emotionally grow and mature themselves and don't want to be more balanced. And it could be, whether they're male or female, they kind of like to live more from their mind than their heart. And that's kind of their truth. And that's how they want to keep moving forward. So they keep moving forward more, letting their more worldly egoic nature, which can be their defensive nature to love, run their life. And it could be kind of using, I think I can use these gifts I've been given, like Virgo with the pentacles. The pentacles can be all these things that we've learned, these resources we've been given. We've all been given all four suits of the deck, but have we grown and matured those aspects within ourselves? And some people really haven't grown and matured themselves emotionally, because you'd have to, it kind of makes me think of Scorpio energy, where you'd have to kind of get to know yourself more emotionally to understand why, when I feel this way, I do this, and when I feel that way, I do that, and how does that maybe throw my life out of balance and throw my relationships out of balance, and maybe make me defensive. And some people, shadowy energy can be, I don't want to see the truth. Some people are just more materialistic, more caught up in the world. That's their truth. That's the reason why they get in relationships, stay in relationships, think other people should get in relationship with them, stay in relationship with them. And sometimes some people who have maybe put more work and effort to have stability and security in their life, or their looks, or their charm, or their education, or something. So they have these things of the world that people would be more motivated and inspired to maybe be in a relationship with them for. They could hope that someone who's maybe more balanced, more loving, would be willing to be in a relationship with them, even though they're not maybe more connected in with their emotions. And people can get in those relationships. It's just that eventually, if the other people are more inspired by love, eventually they don't want to stay in a relationship like this, and they end up standing up for their more emotional nature. We, in our dualistic nature, in our worldly nature, we have to stand up for our emotional truth. And that can be us coming across in like a masculine card, because the masculine energies can represent how people are presenting themselves in the world. So there's people in the world right now, and some of them are who they say they are. The feminine figures talk about how we really think and feel. Some people, they let their egoic nature dominate kind of over their more emotionally intuitive nature. Like, because only one can kind of be in the driver's seat of our life, and the other one has to sit in the back seat. And so some people have decided, I don't want to have to kind of like grow and mature myself in a way where I let my more emotionally intuitive, loving nature kind of be in the driver's seat of my life, letting love and intuition guide me, listening to the lessons I've learned and making smart decisions and mature decisions. But they could have fear about listening more to their intuition or even doing love. So they could let, whether they're male or female, let their more egoic nature be in the driver's seat of their life, and their more loving nature has to sit in the back seat. But when we're not letting love and intuition guide us, we're probably making decisions that seem more practical and logical. And, pride comes before the fall. We think we're so smart. This makes logical, practical sense. But they could be ignoring. It's like people who get in a job and a career field which isn't aligned with their truth and what they'd maybe really like to do, that they would find in their Pisces energy emotionally fulfilling. And Pisces and Virgo are on opposite sides of the zodiac wheel. So some people still in their more worldly nature, maybe kind of trying to find balance between their more Virgo nature and their Pisces nature, are kind of being more influenced by the things of the world. Other people have already learned some lessons that they, again, have these things of the world they want, but they equally know, I want to be in professions and relationships and live my life in a way that I find more emotionally fulfilling. I can't shut that off. Those things are more important to me than they could be to other people. I've gone on that journey. I've already learned that lesson. I need a more balanced life. I need to be in a career that I like. I need to be in a workplace where I like the people. I can't, and again, everybody has their tolerance level. Some people can stay in a workplace that they hate. If they could leave it, would they leave it? Maybe, but if it has those things of the world that they want, they're more willing to stay in it. And even if it shadowy energy can be that people are bossy and controlling and stubborn and prideful and immature and deceptive or manipulative or all those things. And some people are like, I don't care, I'm going to stay here anyway. It's like, and everybody has to make decisions for themselves, and everybody has their own tolerance level and kind of the balance or imbalance they're willing to put up with in their life. And some people kind of get to where, yeah, I can't do this anymore. And sometimes some things start out and it seems like we're going to get justice in the world, but then maybe as time goes by, we could find out that our truth is different. What we think is just and fair is different. Who and what we want to invest our time, energy, and effort into. If we're tipped out of balance and we're more about the world, and again, we could have all gotten in some jobs, friendships, and relationships because of these things that we want to manifest in our life. We want to be in friendship and we want to be in a relationship, and sometimes we could have indulged poor behavior in ourselves or others. That would be an imbalanced relationship. And we could always hope that other people, Pisces is about hoping people kind of are willing to kind of look at life differently and hope that other people will be enlightened to the truth. But we can't make other people change, and we can't make other people view life differently, kind of try to see things from another perspective. If they have their truth and, that's their truth, we can offer truth and love to other people. We can work together with other people in a just and fair and loving way. But if that's not their truth and how they want to operate in a relationship, they're not going to. And then we can have a really hard time, and the bottom row can represent us kind of being in our ego of wanting to see the truth of it. So we can have, whether it's a friend, a family member, or whoever in our life, because we could have love for them, and we had this dream of us moving forward together in a more balanced, mature, just and fair relationship. We can have a really hard time just kind of even wanting to see the truth about them. We can keep hoping other people will maybe temper their ego, temper their fear. Maybe in shadow, the pentacles can be different things that people want to indulge in or make really important in their life. And it can be things they indulge in. That's shadowy Pisces. It can be people have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship, and they could think it should be more about me, or I should be able to be bossy or controlling or manipulative or stubborn. And, they just keep thinking because they probably had people in their life who've already been indulging them kind of in that way, even though some of those people, it's like, I'm kind of indulging you because I love you, but it doesn't mean I'm going to keep indulging you. There does, the other people have a dream of things moving forward probably differently, where we detach from harnessing these energies in a more worldly, shadowy way, and that we all are willing to temper our ego or any shadowy aspects and ways of being, like bossy or controlling or something like that, to actually harness these energies in a more high vibe way. And so some people could be at that stage in a relationship right now, still hoping and believing that some other people are going to change, that other people are going to work through their issues, that other people are going to deal with things that manipulate them and see the truth of it, and that eventually they're going to love themselves enough to get more balance within themselves and see the truth that why aren't they working with other people who are more just or fair or balanced or loving, but sometimes we can have loving people in our life, but we haven't learned the lesson we needed to learn. And the more just and fair people, just like we've had people in our life at different stages of our life, honey, why are you living your life like that? And I don't think that's good for you, and you should live your life, I wish you'd kind of see through whatever it is that manipulates you to, and we didn't. And then we can, be in relationships with people who don't, and they're really caught up in what they're caught up in. High vibe energy is being more independent in the world. Some people are still more codependent on other people. Some people are more codependent on their friend group or their family group, or even their more self-protected defensive nature, but they want to be in relationship or marriage, and with their friend group or their original family, they can't be married to those people, and they go get in relationships with people like a marriage, and they think it'll work out fine, but it's kind of like a house divided can't stand. And if the truth is that they're still more about themselves, or have a primary loyalty to someone else in their life, they have this divided loyalty. But if you're going to make a commitment to get in a marriage with someone or build a life with that person, those people should become the primary foundation in your life. And some people in Libra, some people in their own Libra energy within themselves, they don't have to be a Libra sun sign, but they have a problem kind of being a people pleaser, and have divided loyalties. And some people can't make up a decision about, am I more about me, more about the world? Do I want to do love? Do I want to be more independent? Am I still more codependent on those people? And shadowy energy at large can be where people think that haven't learned the lesson yet about love is to be just and fair. It isn't about, you're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated, and you're supposed to work together with them cooperatively out of love. Well, some people, they don't even believe in love, because I'm kind of viewing the marriage card, which typically I would view like a two of cups, but we have this dualistic nature. We're either married and more committed to our aligning in our Gemini nature of free will with our more hopeful believing nature of love, or we're more married to and aligned with building our life, making our life more about ourselves or these things of the world. And sometimes we're in more mismatched relationships where someone is more inspired by love and intuition, and other people are more about the world or themselves. And it's kind of like the people who are more about themselves or the world kind of sacrificed choosing to align with their more hopeful, believing, loving nature, and then they hope sometimes to get in relationships with people who are like that, and hope they'll give up their dream and keep staying in the relationship with them more for these reasons of the world, even though some of those people aren't willing to authentically do love. Can they be loving and encouraging and supportive and, not reckless and immature or something? Yeah. But you just don't have a more deep, meaningful relationship like you expected to have in a relationship, because that's not their truth. That is not what they are aligned with. They like to align with their more worldly nature, not connect in as much maybe with their emotions, so you can't have a more deep, meaningful relationship with them. And other people, they want it to be all about them. And it's kind of like using these things of the world, their looks, their charm, their status, their image, stability, security, or just people's want to be in a friendship or relationship, that other people will like sacrifice their truth because they want those things. And some of us kind of did. And everybody could have been in their Pisces energy under the illusion that the other people will change. Oh, they'll come around. And we have our truth, so we think, well, why wouldn't other people want to live their life like this, or make their life about that, or have more hope and faith and belief and love, or be willing to be more just and fair, or put in work and effort. And the other people are equally like, I kind of think sometimes too, the people who are more defensive to love, something probably, well, they could have that's just naturally who they are. But they could have went through their own experiences in life where they could have decided love is just a way for someone to manipulate me. And that can be shadowy energy that it, and some people could have decided if I do love, that just opens me up to being manipulated. I'm not going to do that. But then they could think there are those loving people in the world that someone's going to manipulate them. I might as well be someone who's going to manipulate them. And instead of me being manipulated, I'm going to manipulate loving people to try to get them in a relationship with me. And because they're loving, they put in a lot of work and effort to make it work. And they won't want to leave and let go of that dream that I can get them to sacrifice their truth of what they'd really, their real idea of a dream life, get them emotionally invested in me, and then from there on, I can manipulate them. And then, the same thing happens. You get in a relationship with someone, and then they could think, oh, I think this person's emotionally invested in me. I think this person really wants us to work. There's a lot of things they could like about it that they think is just and fair. I think now I can manipulate them. And now I can go indulge in this or do this or act this way or behave that way. And I think because they'll be unwilling to let this go, basically, it's like the devil having a loving person in a relationship with them, and they get to go do whatever the hell they want. And either because of some of those things, or people just realize that I can't have a more deep, meaningful relationship with you, or you're being bossy or controlling or stubborn, that some people do leave those jobs, friendships, and relationships. They did listen to their intuition, and they weren't willing to sacrifice truth and justice and fairness and emotional maturity for these things of the world. And then the shadowy people have to go try to find someone else. And again, maybe hoping. I mean, high vibe people can be attractive, charming, have money, have status, all these things too. But they can those aspects bring people into their life? Yeah. But they think the most important thing they have to offer people is that they're a just and fair and emotionally mature and loving person who treats other people the way they like to be treated and have that hopeful, believing spirit. The other things they have are perks that they could have put work and effort into for some of them things, but some of them they were just kind of blessed with. But, it's not to use it to try to manipulate other people. And other people, anything they've got, they could use it to manipulate people. Because it is all about maybe trying to manipulate people to get them and use whatever resources you have. Even if for some people, I'll have sex with you. Can I get someone to be trapped in a relationship with me just because I have sex with them? And other people want to be in relationships that are more just and fair and emotionally mature and loving. So, and even now, even if it was like an employer, there could be an employer who wants to bring a dream into reality, has all these different people who could work for them. And some of the people are people who, kind of learn these lessons and go on this journey, hopefully kind of get more balance within themselves, grow and mature over time, kind of get invested in the dream, and together they all move forward. And then there's other people that are like, well, yeah, I like this job, and yeah, I want to stay here, and yeah, I want to kind of move forward with you. Oh, but by the way, I'm not going to get more balance within myself, and I am going to indulge in being bossy or controlling or lazy or more about me. But I'm hoping because maybe my education or how long I've worked here or something, that you'll let me keep moving forward with you. And eventually an employer could be like, at what time is enough? Just like people do in a relationship. And an employee could say that to an employer. When is enough? Are things ever going to change, or are they not? And if they're not, the other people kind of reconcile themselves with the truth of it. I see you want to keep repeating this pattern. This is kind of your truth, and you're kind of looking for someone to be in relationship with you where they make that their truth also. And I wish you peace and love. And if you have that and you found that and you're happy, everybody has the free will to live their life the way they want. If some people aren't interested in becoming more independent emotionally, of being more about just about themselves in the world, is just about, that's the only purpose to being on the planet, is my stability, my security, my ego, my image, things I indulge in, or my status or whatever. They just live a more worldly life, which could be very enjoyable and loving and all these things. It's just maybe never really kind of making it about anything else. High vibe energy is about trying to give birth to something new emotionally. And we could have, all of us at times in our life, thought, well, I'm never going to be someone who's really going to give birth to something new in the world. But we were all given our own unique talent, skills, and interests. Are we investing in those or are we not? The things that and sometimes we don't even learn what those things are till we've gone through a period of time in life to get exposed to different things. Like I remember when I went to college, and people would tell me what they were going to college for. It's like, what is that? And how did you ever did you know someone who is that? It's like, I mean, how do you at 18 kind of even know some of these professions in the world, right? And how do you have any experience in that to know you'd even like to do it? And some people do know, and some people have a knack for certain things and know they really want to do something from the time they're 5. And other people, it's like, I kind of know my strong suits and strengths and weaknesses, and I probably shouldn't go into this, and I don't really even have any interest in that. And I kind of seem to do good with these things, so I'll kind of go into those things. And so then you do. And again, it's kind of like making your life a little bit more about the world, just conforming to the world in a way, and never maybe um becoming more independent, of making your life just more about the world and being more independent to live maybe your more authentic truth, having more hope and faith and belief in yourself and in your dreams, and maybe getting out of more codependent energy, letting these things of the world more drive why you do what you do than listening more to your own intuition. So let's go look at the top row. So maybe we could read this as what some people who are more caught up in themselves or the world, or just, and I think we all kind of view life that way the first 30 to 50 years of our life. I mean, not everybody, some people are much more, willing to shine their authentic light from the time they're 5. you know, it's just like, wow, there are no inhibitions or restrictions, with some people just willing to fly their freak flag in a way, or just be really authentically themselves from the time they're young, and they just don't let the world make them try to hide their light under a bushel basket, to say. But for other people, it can be more of a process of becoming. And the rest of the people probably got to go on this journey. And like I say, some people could be going on a journey right now where they're letting their mind run their life. This seems practical and logical. This seems to be just and fair. But they might be kind of turning their back on either their more emotional nature or being more balanced within themselves. And so they're on that journey to decide, if this is their truth and they want to keep doing that, or if they do want to get more balance within themselves, and then they could go on the next journey. And again, when we have pages, knights, kings, and queens, we have all four suits in the deck and all four. When we're younger, we go on a journey of our heart, our mind, our 3D world, our passionate nature, and we learn lessons in those regards. Then we could go to being a young adult in a knight stage. We have to go on all four journeys probably again to see how far, and then we could become kings and queens. And some people are still on those journeys. Other people have learned some of the lessons that some other people haven't, and they don't have to if they don't want to. Everybody's free to live their life the way they want. But some people kind of went on the journey of maybe being either more about the world or living more from their mind than their heart. And during that journey, they could have realized that they weren't kind of they could have even realized, I feel like I have all these things in the world, but I'm missing being in a more deep, meaningful, emotionally balanced relationship, and realizing how important that is to them. So they could do this work within themselves to kind of see why, because they would have had as hard a time leaving certain jobs and friendships as much as some other people are having a difficult time. And some people it can be more difficult or less difficult. It just kind of depends on what some of your issues are and kind of what manipulates us. And it's okay because we're all on our own journey. But main female courtship, going down this pathway, which a pathway card kind of reminds me of Virgo. We go on these journeys to learn these lessons in life to help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. It's just the differences that some people could have changed kind of in the adjudication card as they went on that journey in that job, friendship, or relationship. They probably did do some inner work within themselves to work through some things that manipulated them. And as they were moving forward in something, they could be someone again who's kind of more inspired to life is this process in their high vibe Virgo nature, that life is about kind of going on this journey and learning lessons, and you don't stay more stuck and stagnant. That is the process of life. I learned lessons from 15 to 18. I didn't stay 15 to 18. I kind of had a dream of growing and maturing myself. When it got to the point where I had to do that, I could have had fear in the adjudication card of making that decision, because Pisces also is represented by the moon card, and that can kind of be moving into unknown territory where we can't see everything clearly. It's not as lit up as the sun, and that's why we can be tempted, like in our sun energy, which is Leo, of our ego, to keep staying in our comfort zone, because I know how everything works here. If I go over there, I haven't been there before. That's scary. And the moon can talk about our fears. Well, some people kind of do this work within themselves. It's like, but I kind of want to move forward differently. But yeah, that's scary. And I kind of like to stay here. And so then they have to do kind of this back and forth within themselves. What do I love? I kind of love doing this, but I also want to do that. And they kind of go on that journey within themselves to get more clear about their truth and look at those things and see those different things that manipulate them, that would make them keep staying here instead of continuing to move forward in their life. And they did some of that inner work, and some of those people, with the message, the family room can kind of talk kind of about the mind, but also like behind closed doors of a foundation that In the community card, I view that as the Three of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy, and shadowy Capricorn is represented by the devil. So all of us in our own Capricorn energy, and the shadowy Capricorn represented by the devil. The devil looks just like the Lover's card, except the people have chains and shackles on them. So can I love certain things, but I feel like it limits me and restricts me and oppresses me and confines me in some way? At one time, did I think it was just and fair and abundant? Yeah, it was just like me turning 21. Was that just and fair and abundant and I was going on a new journey? Yeah. But when I start to get like 23 and 25, it starts to kind of feel like maybe I wasn't planning to stay there all my life. It's time to move forward. And then I have to work through this fear of moving forward a little differently. And I could communicate to some people in my life that I want to move forward differently, that I don't, I kind of feel like doing certain things kind of keeps me on a certain path. And I'd like to either change some habits or some vices or get more balance, more moderation. Put more work and effort maybe into things that are more aligned with my future dreams than repeating this pattern and doing this over and over. And some of those people might say, you can go, we're going to keep doing this. And then, we do have to become more independent. And some people might not say that right away, but if they're still liking to kind of live their life and do life the way they do it, but I kind of want to do things differently, well, then over time, the relationship does drift apart because we're kind of on different pathways and journeys. And you made the decision within yourself that I want more balance, is what the Three of Pentacles in a way is coming across today. Because in our worldly nature, but our emotionally loving nature and our more hopeful, believing nature of self, it's not to let my ego, which can be represented by the masculine cards, kind of tilt me out of balance. My emotionally creative and inspired and hopeful, believing nature wants to do certain things, and I don't like being tipped out of balance, with any of them, one or two of them taking more priority. I need to try to find a balance between I can love certain things, love certain people, want to invest in certain things, but it has to be in alignment where it's working for all kind of aspects of myself, not indulging one aspect of myself or two or three aspects of myself more so than another, where because my intuition tells me it could be more out of fear or codependency or immaturity or lust or greed or want for these things that I want. But if I really want my dreams to come into reality, it has to be more just, more fair, more balanced, and me loving and believing in myself and kind of standing up for myself and my truth and wanting it to be more me, to feel more balanced within myself and be in more balanced relationships. Part of that can be that I need to move forward in life differently and then let everybody else make their free will decisions. And in order for you to move forward differently, you kind of do have to call judgment on those aspects of yourself that wanted to keep doing things the way they were and keep living your life that way. And it's like, well, I feel that keeps my life out of balance. I don't think it's just and fair. I don't think it's in alignment, like, with where my truth. And so sometimes I have to be willing, when we detach from harnessing those energies in a more shadowy way and letting, we get to the point where we're willing to detach from the people who want us to keep repeating a pattern that, we repeat certain patterns until we learn the lesson we were meant to learn from it. And then when we kind of heal or grow or mature ourselves in some way, or love ourselves or get more balance within ourselves, then we're not the same person that we were when we got in it. And that can make some people mad because they maybe don't ever change. They didn't think you would ever change. But it's like, I don't stay stagnant. And I think high vibe people offer truth and love to the people they're in relationship with to help them work through their fears, their insecurities, their past pain and heartbreak, their self-limiting beliefs, to work through those things. But those people have the free will if they want to deal with the truth of some of those things or not, or it's just your truth is different than my truth. I'm completely happy living my life this way. I want to keep living my life this way. It's like, well, I did too at one time, so I can understand it. It's just not my truth anymore. And high vibe energy is from love. It's not to, I want to try to be, some of the shadowy people, they don't want to do things differently because they do like being more bossy or controlling or defensive or immature or being indulged or not doing love or using their emotions manipulatively, male or female. And there's something they don't want to detach from, that they, when you choose this versus that with your free will, you have to let go of something else. Now, as some people realize, I think I'm in a mismatched relationship, you want me to move forward with you, you have your truth. Could I view you as a lovely person? Yes, but I maybe come to realize on this journey that that's not my truth. Well, then we could view them as more shadowy, but their truth, if other people are acting from truth and love, and I suppose at any stage of people's emotional maturity level, we might still view some people as emotionally immature, but if that's their truth, that's their truth. And other people are like, I can't keep moving forward with this. I really need to take some time to get clear about what my truth is and who and what I want to invest my time, energy, and effort into. And if some people right now are wanting people to make a decision, some people might say, no, I'm not ready to do that. Other people might move forward with some people, and some other people might say, no. And then we kind of have to listen to our intuition. Do they just not want to make a more formal commitment to people, get in a more formal relationship, a more committed relationship? Are they people who maybe try to more manipulate people, create an illusion that this dream is going to come into reality, but it never comes into reality? Well, you can give people some grace time, is what these could represent too, for other people to work through these things that they need to think about. But there can come a time where it's like, again, kind of like Judgment Day, kind of maybe in the King of Swords, enough is enough. Either people are motivated and inspired and this is their truth and they want to move forward in this way, this aligns with their truth, or it doesn't. And just because I could have people in my life that I would like to move forward with, again, friend or family or whoever, I'm not going to keep staying stuck, and it's kind of to get out of our ego about it, that people are investing their time, energy, and effort. They're either investing in people to try to manipulate other people to get them to do what they want, which, why would we want to be in a relationship with someone like that? Or they're living their life in alignment with their truth. And we need to accept the truth of that. Either way, the high vibe people aren't going to keep being manipulated, and they're going to free themselves and accept the truth. If people were motivated and inspired to work together with me more in a just and fair way, the people I've been trying to work with, they would. And if they don't, they don't, for whatever reason they have of those various things that I said, and I accept the truth of it. So, what's coming up for the high vibe people they don't see coming? We have 2 cards not showing themselves, and the reason is because of the 2 of Pentacles. And the 2 of Pentacles is Capricorn energy, freeing yourself from the devil. If other people are juggling and can't make up their mind, then you're going to get balance within yourself and listen to love and intuition to guide you, and you're going to pick up your investment in them and maintain your balance as you keep moving forward, investing in your truth. And as you go through that process, wanting more balance, wanting to work together with people in a more just and fair and balanced way, but if they're not willing to pick up their investment in certain ways of being or people, then you can't have a more balanced relationship with them. You freed yourself from things that manipulated you, but again, they might not free themselves from things that manipulate them or not want to. And we accept the truth of it. And as you're moving forward, again, shadowy people can just think, oh, you're putting on a show. You're trying to manipulate me. I don't believe you really are who you say you are. Because that's how some shadowy people view the world, that everybody's just trying to manipulate each other. And who can outwit and outsmart and outplay. And the high vibe people are like, I am not trying to manipulate you or control you. I am telling you the truth. I have spoken my truth. I have invested in my truth. And they're like, oh no, you're maybe just trying to manipulate me. And whether they're a friend or a family member, because that's just how they view life. They might think you come across as more loving, but they're not willing to buy into that. You're just going to try to use that to manipulate and control them. So, some people could see you moving forward very balanced, maybe in Capricorn, looking very stable and abundant within yourself. What they don't understand about you is you're not creating an illusion. You're not trying to manipulate and control people. And that you've detached. This whole process has helped you detach from harnessing those energies in a more worldly, shadowy way that would have made you, was part of maybe what got you into some of these friendships or relationships or jobs that you took at one time. And you don't harness that energy that way anymore. You now harness it in a more high vibe way. And that's also helps you detach from the people who still harness it in a more worldly, shadowy way. Because you kind of have to be you don't have to be the same type of people, but you have to have things kind of at a stage of life that kind of manipulate you to keep staying at that kind of way of living life or viewing life or stage of life. And it kept you kind of connected with some of those people. But some of those people don't realize that they might think they're juggling you, but they don't realize you've picked up your investment in them and you don't have an interest of being in a relationship with them anymore or a friendship. The Judgment and the Emperor. So, the Emperor is Aries energy, which is about the self. And if you feel some people in your life were more about themselves, instead of being more balanced and just and fair from love, you call judgment on them. Kind of no more illusions about them. If at one time you viewed them as a much more just, fair, stable, grounded, loving person, and mature person, you've come to realize in a lot of ways they might be, but they're just more about themselves, how it benefits them. It's not really love. If it's good for their ego and their image and all that, that's what they care about. And they don't really, they're not more balanced within themselves and taking action more from love. It's just more love of themselves and these things of the world and how it benefits them. So you've called judgment on them. If there's, you decided to, in yourself, to get more balance within yourself, other people are still more tipped out of balance. You know, it's still whatever it can be within them and outside of them that manipulates them. And those things still manipulate them to a degree that they don't manipulate you anymore. And you held yourself accountable in the Judgment card and the Judication card. I see what things manipulate me. I want to be more balanced. I want to be more free, to live my more authentic life, to be more independent, to know my worth and value, kind of, and live my more authentic life. And other people are like, oh, well, no, we still got to do this. And you got to act like this. And you got to go to this. And you can't be more independent. These people don't like us to be more independent or something. And it's like, well, you make your life more about those things. I'm going to go live my authentic truth from love, going out and treating other people in the world the way I like to be treated. But it's not to make my life more about conforming to the world or getting in a relationship or staying in a relationship more for the status or the ego or the image. And some people, it is more about, with the emperor looking like a boss in the world, and some people, want to be in certain friendships or relationships or even a marriage because they think that gives them more of a certain status or image in the world. And the other people are like, I'm willing to give those things up. That's not why I want to be in a friendship or a relationship or a marriage. I want to be in a relationship or a marriage because people are inspired by truth and love and to do equal give and take. And high vibe emperor, where people have learned these lessons in life. They're not going on these journeys. They've learned to maintain balance within themselves, that if I indulge one, two, or three aspects of myself, it's one thing like to tip in favor of being loving, when we're in relationships with loving people in our life and children. And we can go further out in tipping in that favor in those situations, but it's always able to come back to center. And when we're at our job, we tip more in favor of putting work and effort, and maybe our emotional nature and our fiery nature and things are kind of put to the side because we're at work and we focus on that. But it's generally high vibe emperor would be having learned these lessons and learned that all four aspects are important. My emotional nature is important. My creative, passionate nature is important. I mean, some people could get, again, in jobs, friendships, and relationships that they don't love, that they're not inspired by, that they don't even want to invest in, that isn't even aligned with their truth. Or one of the aspects is missing. But because, well, some lessons they haven't learned in life, they could think, oh, that other aspect, that's not important. I can work with this. This will be okay. Well, and for them, it might be okay. It's like being in a car driving down the road with one flat tire. Oh, that one flat tire, that don't matter. That's unimportant. Other people want all four tires to be full and equally invested in, and that way the car moves forward much smoothly. So some of the people could always keep one tire really low, like, oh, I don't pay much attention to that. No, I don't want to invest in that. And other people are like, I want to feel, also high vibe Aries is like the Four of Wands. I want to be firing on all four cylinders, not stay in denial. Like, what? Oh, that fourth wand? Oh, that's not even functioning. That one's defunct. That one's, and then trying to tell people, oh no, I'm firing on all four cylinders. It's like, well, that one doesn't seem to really be important to you. What? Oh no, I'm getting that fixed next week. And that's what shadowy people can do. But their truth is, there's something that they don't equally invest in that they think is less important, but they try to create the illusion that they've learned those lessons, but they haven't. And other people saw the truth of it, and other people moved on. And then those people are going to try to do the same thing with someone else. And then it's up for that person to decide if they want to stay at that job or in that friendship or relationship. Are we on the same page? We both don't pay attention to that. We both don't invest much in that. We're good with it. And the high vibe people are looking for people who are more on the same page as them. And I think as you move forward in a more emotionally balanced way, you're probably listening to your intuition about the different people that you're meeting, and other people are listening to their intuition about you. And if people just seem to be more about themselves, want to juggle the truth, I think you'll call judgment on them. It's just that some people will try to do that with you, and they don't realize that you've already dealt with people like them before, and that can you still get along with them? Some of those people could think, oh no, this person still wants to be more of a friendship or relationship with me. And they don't realize that you're not as manipulated by, you just see the truth of it. You're not as manipulated by some things and people and ways that they act or behave. Kind of like, I do see that you're immature. I do see that you're manipulative. I do see that you're full of yourself. I do see that you're whatever. And I see that you use these things to maybe try to manipulate other people. Yeah, I'm not. I see the truth of it. They might not think you see the truth of it, but you do. And there's other people in your life that think you view you and you view them. High vibe emperors that you're being a good leader in your own life and trying to be a good role model for others. And those are the people in your life that you are maintaining balance with and working things out with, because their truth is your truth, and looking to meet more people who are like that. What's coming up for people who harness some more shadowy Pisces energy? The Ten of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Six of Cups. Well, we'll all repeat certain patterns until we learn the lesson we were meant to learn. So what they don't see coming, the tens, there's a maximum of 10 in every suit. What they don't see coming is that there's always going to be people in their life that they know that have completed a cycle and have made peace with the past, who are going to decide to pick up their investment in them to a degree of how they used to invest in them, or a way of living life or viewing life, and those people are going to move on. And they could always be surprised when other people do that, because they could move forward in things, but they never complete the cycle. And it could be because they're just happy living their life that way. And they could always be confused when other people, well, why aren't you still doing this? Why aren't you still hanging out here? Why aren't you still making this important in your life the way I make it important in my life? They could be happy with the way they live their life, so they don't want to let go of it. And we can all have been in friendships and relationships where we have other possibilities to be in friendship or relationship with, but we can be happy living our life the way it is. But if some people are a little bit more kind of stuck in their ways and living more from their ego nature, and it is more about them or these things of the world, they could find someone who's willing to be in a relationship or a marriage with them and move forward with them in that way, because that can be their truth also. And a more shadowy Scorpio of the Six of Cups can be that people are more, not as much, kind of more use their emotions more manipulatively, don't want to be in more deep, meaningful relationships. Kind of more about maybe the ego and the image and the status and being in a relationship, and maybe not even wanting to be in a more deep, meaningful relationship. But when people move forward in relationships for those kind of reasons, there can be other people in their life who can see that it's more for these other reasons and that it does seem more emotionally shallow and superficial. And some of those people could have been caught up in that, just because we're all more caught up in the world. And other people could become more independent of them, because as time goes by, those things become less important, like being in the relationship more or investing in the friendships or relationships more for the status or the ego and image of it. Everybody could have enjoyed it, at some point in time, caught up in the world, more about, and then they want to live their more authentic life where it's less about the status and the ego and image. I want to live and invest in what seems, and I could have learned through this process, what was more aligned with my truth, and maybe before I wasn't seeing it because shadowy energy is kind of being in denial of the truth. And some people where it was more about the ego and the image or looking like the boss or being more about them and thinking it should be more about them, they maybe already lived that way of life and they see the truth and it's like it's more important. Love is what makes it all worthwhile. And so those people will move on from people who still kind of view life this way or living their life that way or about what they indulge in or make their life about. But there'll be other people who are willing to be in relationship with them. And if there are people who try to manipulate more loving people to get them to be in a relationship with them, they could. And then it's up for that person to decide if they're willing to live more from their worldly nature and sacrifice their more loving nature to stay in that relationship or not. Everybody's got the free will to manifest what they want. But they are going to see some people in their life who they know are very stable, loving, mature, insightful, loving, and encouraging, who do want to be in deep, meaningful relationships, move on and pick up their investment in them. They still might be confused as to why. Like, there must be someone else, or, and some people just don't realize this isn't my truth and they can't understand it because why wouldn't this be someone's truth? And as some people are maintaining their balance, some other people are doing this work within themselves to approach you and get to know you more. And while some people are doing that, some shadowy people are wondering if they could manipulate you. If you're like people they've known in the past, how to go about trying to manipulate you. Should they, what should they use to try to manipulate you? And, some of the people thinking about that are people that you already know you don't want to be in a relationship with. But some of those people don't know it, you know? Anyway, there you go, Pisces. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.